I found it. Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste, welcome. So now we're going to talk about shifting from the Seer 1, Seer 2, but for the Seer 3. So now I have to shift from the thoughts around my tomato plants, my zucchini plants, all those thoughts that I was involved trying to learn new tricks. Now I have to shift to the Vedanta thoughts. So we ended in the last verse before the verse 13. The verse 13, are you all positioned there? Is the page 27. Okay, and just doing a quick recap. Vedanta is nothing but shifting from the Seer 1 and Seer 2 to the Seer 3, and not only discriminating and understanding what is the absolute seer, what is the absolute consciousness, what is the absolute illuminator, but most importantly is claiming oneself to be this absolute seer. That's very important. Otherwise, our effort remains incomplete. And this is the most difficult part, as we know, because anybody with a good intellect can go through all these logics and discriminate between Satya and Mithya, between the consciousness and the five koshas, and the consciousness and the three-fourth seers, the consciousness and the three bodies. We can discriminate, we can understand because we have good minds. But then in the end, we still need help from the Lord, because the simplest, when we come to the simplest part, once we are properly convinced that it's the best possible deal to embrace our true nature as absolute consciousness, as pure consciousness, and shifting from mortality to immortality. Although we understand that it's the best possible goal or deal in life, we still, in the end, we hesitate a little bit in what? In claiming our true identity as consciousness. We understand everything, we discriminate, we go through, and then in the end, all that is called is to us, is to let go of our identification with the relative seers, which involves energy, matter, and attributes, and qualities, and configurations, and everything subject to development. And so all this aspect of my human experience, okay, which is Mithya, which is this body-mind expression, we need to, at the end, we need to just let go of that certainty. I am the body-mind complex, and truly claim our real nature, our real identity as the absolute seer, as free, limitless consciousness, right? And why it's so difficult then to claim? Because of attachment. We have this problem of attachment with the tangible body-mind complex. We have got involved with consciousness, with those Mithya expressions of ourselves, And now this attachment, this is something that often Swami Paramarthananda says that it's a gradual process. We get this knowledge clear in your mind, and then somehow gradually you go transferring your identity, you go shifting from the relative seers to the absolute seer. And Swami Paramarthananda tends to say that it's a gradual process, you just see and you realize and you make your choice and you say, no, I want to be fully identified with my limitless nature, my conscious existence nature. And then we keep going back and forth, resisting a little bit until one develops certain, I would say, certain qualities or maturity or purities that allows one to really allow the shift, It's allow us to allow the shift, not to resist to it and just assume and claim to be, I am the absolute seer, I am limitless consciousness and not the body-mind complex with all its levels of experience. And here, Swami Paramarthananda keeps going, saying that until this shift takes place, the cycle of birth and death will continue. So this is not new. We know if we don't shift from the agent, from the body mind, the experiencing entity, the knowing entity, if we don't shift from the agent to the non-agent, limitless consciousness, which is not an agent or an experiencing entity, as we know, if we don't shift, what happens? We are not going to shift in some upper lock. We're going to be back with another birth, you understand? Because it has to be done according to our scriptures in a very conscious manner, based on the structure by which we experience duality until we extract the knowledge of the essence or the substratum of the entire superimposition projection called mithya. So we need to do it in here. So otherwise we are not going to be able to do it elsewhere. And this is a question I have asked to several people, including to James, and I will ask Swami Paramarthananda next week. How about that? Next week, huh? I'm gonna make a note. We need to know, if I don't complete my work here, can I complete it in some of these higher celestial locus or not? No, I'm gonna tell you. So you are the expert here. So give me an answer and give me the logic that supports that, And then sometimes we hear our great gurus or our scriptures say, so certain knowledge here, they don't come much with supporting logic. You need to take it on faith. And then we say, okay, I will take it on faith. Why? Because so far, all this knowledge has proved to be correct. So, and then if certain knowledge cannot be supported by logic totally, so and then we have a certain shraddha or trust. We say, okay, I trust the scriptures. It has proved to be trustworthy. And if it says that we need to be here with the three bodies hooked up in order to experience duality and learn certain lessons, okay, and only in this dimension we can grow and progress. So it must be right, okay? So I'm going to make a note and call Swami Paramarthananda and try to solve this mystery, because and then we can know exactly, okay, so I have this much time and it's better I stay focused doing my work, because if possible, I prefer not to come back. But we have the option to say, no, I enjoy the game here. I want to come back to carry on my spiritual work as well. Now it's another option, of course. Okay. So the mind sense organs bundle called the subtle body goes through the 3 states of experience when the individual is alive, attached to the physical body. And after it detaches from the physical body, it leaves the physical body until it takes another birth. So I want to know what happens between one birth and another birth with details. That is the dissociation of the subtle body from the physical body. And birth is association with a new, fresh baby physical body. The consciousness never leaves or goes anywhere, just like space not vacating the house when the occupants of the house vacate the house. The cycle of birth and death has been going on from beginningless time and will go on endless unless the individual gets a hard and fast and clear jnana, self-knowledge. That's the concept of liberation. I'm free from what? Free from a round trip, free from a ticket that brings me back here. So I want one-way ticket. But in order to get one ticket, we have to clear all those subtle desires that brings us back. I want to bring, oh no, I'm done with this here, but I want to come back to experience the 5th dimension, for example, the 4th dimension, you understand? And then chances are that we may get stuck in one of these walkers until we somehow, we are pulled back here. We fall back in here. So unless with this verse, the author conclude the discussion on the formation and function of the 3 seers. So we went through these beautiful expositions of the way these 3 seers, they are formed and the way they function. It was a very nice discussion. And here, after the author gets into the main topic of these texts, namely the cause of samsara, and it is remedy. Now we talk, So now now that we understood how we got into this mess, so now we want to know what is the remedy, okay? The cause of samsara we all know, and the remedy we all know. Maybe what makes the difference is to take the medicine according to prescription, because Vedanta is the remedy. The Upanishads, this knowledge is the remedy. And like any and all remedies, it needs to be taken according to prescription. Of course, depending on the gravity of the state of each one of us, we're going to need to take it more often. And some of us do not need to take it every 6 hours. We can take it twice a week, and so on. But the fact is that we have the remedy, and now we need to follow the program and really take it. Take the medicine. So we enter the verse 13. Indeed, Maya has 2 powers of the nature of projecting and veiling. Here is veiling is written like that, V-I-L-I. No, it's wrong, Okay. The veil is with A-O-E-L or A-I-L, am I supposed to? So the Maya has 2 powers of the nature of projecting and concealing, let's say. The projection power creates the world, beginning from the subtle body onward to the total universe, the experienced world, Jagata. So we have these 2 powers. One is Vikshepa, projecting, and the other is the concealing, the veiling, is the Tama aspect, the Avarana aspect. Vikshepa and Avarana. Vikshepa projects and Avarana brings about a certain density to this structure of experience that somehow affects the human intellect with a certain veil condition, so that we can't really see things clearly, or having our mind, our sense organs fully developed, because somehow, according to our scriptures, there is too much tamas in the equation. There is too much tamas in the how you say, in the composition of our subtle bodies, or I was going to say in the cocktail, in the mixture. In order to create this dense physical world, we need what? We know this. We need more tamas, The tamas aspect of the 5 elements allows this division and grossification till the elements, which begins as subtle, pure elements. They grossify to become physical. And then in this physical universe, we have infinite numbers of different creatures or living creatures, that can go through this process of interacting with their environment and experiencing, and learning and growing and developing. So we need a solid structure, and in this solid structure, it seems our sattva guna, our knowing ability, which is the background of vikshipa, the projecting power, and of varana, the concealing power, this sattva guna, if it is more luminous, it is more, revealing power, and then we can understand that. It seems to me that there is a balance. In order for this structure, this universe, to sustain itself, it's unavoidably, it requires this avarana, which is the main concealing power, although the projecting power, which is inherent in the universe, because without this projecting power, Ishvara cannot really create it, manifest this universe. And then everything that's created is going to come with these 3 principles, the revealing power, the creative force, and then the projecting, and then the concealing, the tamasic, the dense aspect. So no wonder that everything in the universe, you're going to find these 3 energies, okay? And it's my take that our difficulty is due to excess of rajas and tamas. Therefore, the main process, the most important thing is to cultivate and develop more of this revealing energy, okay? This revealing power, sattva. So it says here that Maya has these powers, Here it has omitted the revealing power. Maya has 3 powers, the projecting and concealing. It has another power, which is pure knowledge, pure intelligence, that affects the mental, the mind of the jivas as the power to know, chit, consciousness. So, but Maya has 2 powers in order to create. It needs to project the universe, and for that it needs this knowledge power, which is the mind of Shvara, and then from that it projects the universe, and then everything projecting universe is going to be covered by these 2 energy, these 3. Fortunately, we have sattva working for us. We also have sattva, but then we have rajas and tamas. And the projecting power creates the world, as we know. And then everything that's creating in this world has this projecting energy in it, which allows our pranas to operate the body, this energetic, rajasic field of energies, intelligent airs, So we have it within our body, within our subtle body, on the prana level, the emotional level that is going to emotize and compel us to respond to the stimulus. So we have all this energy operating and operates in our intellect, because, if we have too much energy, too much rajas in the intellect, we lose focus, we lose, one-pointedness and clarity. So it's going to create the experiencer and the experience the universe. In fact, it creates the Shwara, Jiva, the experiencer, and Jagata, the world for us to experience. Okay, so he brings now these energies and the way this is developed. And let's see what Swami is going to, the way Swami is going to unfold this one. From this verse up to the verse 21st, the analysis of the cause of samsara and the remedy is present. The author wishes to establish that ignorance is the cause of samsara. So this is well established through all texts of Vedanta. So what's samsara? Samsara is coming back again and again, learning very little about your experience here. It is samsara, and it's painful. So what is samsara as well? Samsara is a mental emotional condition derived from this belief that duality is reality, the world is real, and the only way I can resolve myself is by consuming objects of desires so that I can be full, whole, and complete, satisfied, okay, by the means of consumption of certain experience. So we look at samsara from these two angles. We know that Vedanta has the remedy for samsara. The samsara is removing what? Removing this emotional suffering, psychological suffering, because samsara is a set of uncomfortable feelings and emotions and such, which comes with this delusion. When the mind goes through samsara, it comes to the point that it becomes deluded, like Arjuna became deluded. Samsara begins with what? Desire for objects. And then there we have the beginning of the problem. Then we start getting attached to the objects of desire. And then we become dependent on the objects of desire. And then we start suffering of greed, we start suffering. Why? I forgot the word in English. It's a short word. Grieve. We start grieving. You understand? Because we fail and gain everything we want. We're going to be frustrated again and again. And then it comes a point and we suffer the attachment and dependence, those two aspects of samsara, desire, and then attachment and frustrations come, dependence come. And then the mind comes to a point of total delusion, like we saw with Bhagavad Gita, that, Arjuna has totally confused Dharma with Adharma and the Dharma with Dharma at the beginning of the Gita. So this is the ignorance. This is samsara, as presented by our scriptures. And understanding what is samsara, which on the macro means to say the will by which we keep coming back again and again to have another birth. And then knowing the problem samsara. So the text presents the remedy. The cause we know is ignorance, and the remedy is this knowledge. The self-ignorance is one's own composition, that one is a mixture of the three seers. So now we are going to look into the same concept from the angle of the Drsya, which presents this discrimination between the absolute seer and the other seers. And we have seen before that we are a mixture of all these seers. In other texts, we're going to say we are a mixture of original consciousness and reflected consciousness. We are a mixture of consciousness plus an experience, So there are different ways for us to look at this human phenomenal experience we have. And the reason why we don't really enjoy that much, One thing is to be attached to life, but attachment not necessarily translates as appreciation, love. You know, oh no, I want to live forever, but you enjoy. No, I'm suffering, but I'm attached. No, you want to appreciate this experience. So we are the mixture of these three spheres, the absolute and the relative spheres. And that Sakshi is one's own real nature. The cause of samsara is the cause of the samsara problem. Let me understand this statement. The self-ignorance is one's own composition, of one's own composition, that is a mixture of the three spheres. Two are Mithya and one is Satya, and that Satya, Sakshi, is one's own real nature. This ignorance is the cause of the samsara problem. Who or what is responsible for this ignorance? The author points out that Maya is responsible. Does it blame Maya again? Poor Maya. Yeah, it says Maya is the one to be blamed. Maya has two powers, and then in order to project and conceal, and by concealing, veiling, it means to say it adds too much tamas into the cocktail or the recipe of the universe, because we need a dense structure. So Maya is to be blamed, as we know, poor Maya, but no problem. He is not really an entity subject to bad out-esteem or self-esteem or something like that. So Sakshita is one own real nature. Who is responsible? Mr. Maya. Once the topic of Maya comes, the topic of Ishvara and creation come into picture. How can we separate Maya and Ishvara? Maya is this, fundamentally is the set of the three energies, that makes about the macrocosmic reflecting medium. We see that energy field of the three gunas, of the three energies, we see Ishvara and Jiva and Jagata emerging, and all of that is projected using these three energies, okay? And we have seen in several other texts, and maybe we'll unfold a little bit again in here. So the creation, Maya comes, the topic of Ishvara and the Jagata is within it. Therefore, the topic of creation is briefly presented so that Maya can be introduced. So if the author is introducing Maya in this verse, very nice. I love this. All texts of Vedanta is so beautifully structured. Then Maya leading to ignorance, and ignorance causing the pain of samsara can be discussed. So Maya, why is Maya ignorance? Because it's difficult to really say that Maya is ignorance. Because Maya is the set of energy which includes the total knowledge, intelligence, which defines Ishvara, the Lord, the creator, the sustainer, and the destroyer. So Maya is this energy field that brings about Ishvara. So it cannot really be ignorance. When we hear that Maya is ignorant, no, Maya leads to ignorance. Maya is leading to ignorance, and ignorance is called samsara. So in which way Maya leads to ignorance, and who is going to solve ignorance? Ishvara does not solve the problem of ignorance. Jagat does not solve the problem of ignorance. Of course, the problem of ignorance refers to the Jiva-Atma. So the Jiva-Atma is going to suffer this problem, which is technically described as avidya. Maya is going to lead to the ignorance, and ignorance is going to cause samsara for the poor Jiva-Atma. And here we're going to discuss this topic. Creation, Maya, ignorance, and samsaris, the order of analysis. So we're going to see creation, which begins with Maya. I would say Maya, ignorant, Maya, creation, ignorance, and ignorance are the samsaris. No, samsaris are the one who are suffering from samsara. Okay, so the samsaris are the one who are suffering from one birth after the other, and they never understand really, the system in a way that they can live without experience all those negative, uncomfortable emotions that converts life into a painful experience, Since the presentation of this analysis in the text is very brief, a general introduction is now given. Okay, I knew that Swami Paramarthananda, with his generosity, would unfold a little bit more the topic of Maya, fortunately for us. What is creation? Creation can be defined as the production of an effect or product from a cause. So what is creation is an effect that occurs. If there is an effect, there is a cause. And when does creation begin? It's something that we're going to see. But the scriptures say that creation is beginningless. The universe is beginningless. And this is something difficult for most people to wrap their intellect around it, okay? Because we saw creation, we are used, if there is creation, there is a beginning of creation. No, creation is beginningless. But it's a byproduct, it's a production, it's a byproduct of something which is an effect, a cause of an effect. When effect is produced out of a cause, what happens exactly? What is the mechanism? The words cause and effect, etc., are normally used very loosely. Take the example of a potter making a variety of earthenware, like pot, jug, and etc. They make it out of a lump of clay. Clay is said to be the cause, and the varieties of earthenware are said to be the effect. We say that the potter has produced or created or made many pots. The author here asks the question, when we say that the potter creates all these products out of clay, what has the potter really created? On further examination or inquiry, we find that the potter has not created or produced anything at all. In fact, nobody can create anything, because matter can never be created, neither destroyed. Thus, the potter has not produced even a once of matter. He has not produced any substance at all. Previously, there was clay, and now also there is only and only clay and clay alone. So what has the potter done? What has Maya done? What has Ishvara done? Then why do we say that the potter has created the pot? Then when we come to know that the meaning of the word creation is nothing but adding a name and a form to something, and then we can understand why we say that he creates. He creates just because he shaped something, and then a name was given to a form, and a certain quality or attribute was attributed to a certain form, which is defined by a name, okay? So what has the potter really created? No, he just shaped the same substance, which is clay, in a way that it could serve a certain purpose and receive a certain name. No? So has he created anything? Yes and no. He created in this secondary order, the order which is a superimposition of name, forms, and properties, qualities, okay? He superimposed that on the clay, which is the only reality. So we are talking about two orders of reality, water, the ocean and the waves. So there are three levels of reality there, exactly like Jiva, Ishvara, and Brahman. So what is the only reality? Is water. What is the only reality? Is the clay. So what is the only reality of this universe? It is Brahman. It is pure, limitless consciousness, the absolute seer, which in our human experience. So it said that varieties, only inquiry, matter can never be destroyed. The potter has not produced, he has not produced any substance at all. Then we come to know that the meaning of all creation means adding a name and a form. The potter cannot and does not produce anything, and all his efforts are only to add a shape to the wet clay. So this analogy of the wet clay and the shapes given to them is so brilliant. Everything in Vedanta comes with analogies like such as this one, and they may look superficial and simple, but they are so geniusly, presented, and there is such a depth to all of that, So what is the effort of the potter? Is just to create new shapes on wet clay. So is he creating? Yes, on this secondary order, in this relative order, he is creating what? A shape and a name, okay? Before shaping, there was only clay. And after shape also, there is only clay. Before the shaping, it's called clay. When the shape is given, the very same clay is giving a new name, such as a pot, okay? Does the pot exist? Yes and no. It exists in this secondary order as a pot, but in its absolute nature, it exists as clay. What has the potter done? He has not produced anything. He has not really created anything. He has shaped. He has given an nāma-rūpa shape, and in keeping with the shape, a new nāma-rūpa, name and form, has been given a name to a form, either pot or the jug or the plate or the lid, etc. Everything is just clay. Addition of varieties of nāma-rūpas is called creation. How simple. What is creation? Is to get the real substance, the real clay, which is conscious existence, and then through the power of Maya, produce these fundamental energies, the three energies as we call, and out of these three energies go through this process of projecting and densifying and bringing about all sorts of configurations, which are just names and forms, producing infinite properties and attributes of the universe, of these configurations. So what's the lesson number one? Addition of varieties of nāma-rūpas is called creation, not production of the substance. It's going to produce a name and a form. It's going to produce a shape and a name. Addition of configuration to a substance is called creation. So what's creation? Is mixing up this fundamental substance, which is clay, and then we're gonna create new nāma-rūpas. Cause plus addition of nāma-rūpa is creation. So we have clay, and then we add a name and the shape, and then we have creation. Clay plus nāma-rūpa is creation. Clay plus nāma-rūpa is equal to all the earth or clay ware. Plus gold plus nāma-rūpa is equal to what? The ornaments of gold. Wood plus nāma-rūpa is equal to all furniture, etc., made out of wood. cause plus addition of nāma-rūpa is called production of an effect. This is the lesson number 1. So what do you guys think? Is this a convincing logic? Does it satisfy our intellect in the sense that, okay, so what I'm here to learn? I'm here to learn that there is a substance, okay, which is the substance that produces all configurations of the universe. There is a certain clay that is the essence of all objects. So there is this substance. And what is this substance from which everything is created? And then we have to say, I myself, because we are already claiming our identity as Satchitananda. So everything is created by this same existence that we enjoy, the same consciousness that we enjoy, and it is of the nature of limitlessness. So everything else is just nāma-rūpa, it's just configurations that are shaped with different properties and names, which creates the variety of objects we have in the 3 worlds. This is the lesson number 1. Let's see now what's the lesson number 2 Swami Paramarthananda has for us here. Now we'll go to the lesson number 2. It was said that the potter does not produce anything, but he gives only shape. So the next question that is asked is, from where does the shape come? How interesting, huh? He's going to add shape to that substance, which was clay. And then he creates, but he does not create, because it's just a superimposition of a shape, a form. And now the inquiry here goes a little bit deeper, and it's challenging the first statement which was saying that the potter has really created a shape. Okay, so no, I create. I don't create the substance. The substance was already available, so much so that it's available here, but not there. It's only in certain parts of the planet we have on the surface this material. So, but then I can create a shape. But the point here, the inquiry here, where does the potter brings the shape from? The shape is not added by the potter, and this is a little bit crazy. I say, what? The shape is not added by the potter. All shapes are already present in the clay itself. So wherever there is clay, there is a potential for a shape, for a form. They exist already, built into the clay. Let's see the entire logic here, and then it's going to become clear. The spherical clay has all the geometric shapes in what? In seed form, in potential form. So now we are looking at the clay as the macrocosm vasana load, or the macrocosm causal body. There is potential for all configurations, for all names and forms. Okay, so nāma-rūpa is there in the causal body, but it is unmanifest. But it is already in there. The same way the shape contains already those seeds of creation for potential shapes and forms. Okay, so in a spherical ball of clay has all the geometrical shapes in potential form. The spherical shape is nothing but all the shapes in unmanifest form. Okay, it's there. There is a potential. It was created with a certain property to be shaped. You understand? And this knowledge is already there as cement, or as a seed. Otherwise, how could the pot, pull all these different? How can Ishvara, through its jivas, bring about all these manufactured objects, which depend on the jiva, jiva doing its contribution to creation. It was already there, potentially as knowledge is words, The knowledge is built into creation. Oh no, this is my knowledge. I came here and somehow I pull this knowledge myself out of thin air, the same way the American government or the Feds produce more dollars out of thin air. No, the jiva cannot do that. It's already there in the macrocosm mind of the creation, knowledge of the creation. It's all in there. The clay comes with its potential. The shapes, they come in the mind of the potter. And the potter, if he's really wise, he will say, I did not even create the shape. You understand? Somehow the shape came naturally. I was only a facilitator. I was only an instrument by which this new shape came in. Now I'm making square plates of clay, for example. Okay. Clay contains all the names and forms in potential condition called avyakta nāma-rūpa. The potter does not do anything to the substance, the clay, but only brings the unmanifest nāma-rūpa into manifest nāma-rūpa. It's just bring manifest what was unmanifest. So what Maya does, it brings a manifestation of what was there already as a seed of creation. It was already there as potential in its seed condition, and then it brings out, through the power of Vikshipa and Avarana, and then we have the universe manifest out of its seed. So does Maya really create? This is, again, another question, okay? Because as we know, the only reality is uncreated. The only reality is not subject to creation and destruction. The only reality is Satchitananda, is conscious existence, okay? And that cannot be created. So Maya does not really create something absolute. It seems to create something that exists as the different objects made of clay do exist, but fundamentally, they are not really real, because the only reality is that which is not dependent on any other cause, okay? And any object of clay depends on clay, as we know. The potter does not do anything. It brings into manifestation a name and a form which was already there unmanifest. Nothing is produced, including the nāma-rūpa. Substance plus unmanifest nāma-rūpa is called the cause. So now we have the clay plus unmanifest nāma-rūpa, but the clay contains the potential for manifest nāma-rūpa. The same substance plus the manifest nāma-rūpa is called the objects of clay, the effect. What is the benefit of the efforts of the potter? So the potter is there trying to bring the unmanifest to manifest. So what is the benefit? He has neither created the clay, nor he has created the name and form, but there is a certain benefit. He's doing something. He has only changed the status of unmanifest nāma-rūpa into manifest nāma-rūpa. This nāma-rūpa transformation is called creation. Creation is the manifestation of nāma-rūpa upon the substance, which is consciousness. Which substance remains the same before and after the manifestation? The substance remains the same. The gold remains the same, even when it changes into different ornaments. So the same clay remains as clay, although it can be turned on different names. This is the lesson number 2. Nothing is really created because everything exists already, as a potential creation, a potential nāma-rūpa. Everything exists there in the macrocosm causal body, okay? Maya is the macrocosmic causal body on which all this knowledge exists unmanifest. So who does really create something? It's even difficult to say that Ishvara creates, okay? So, and then we trace back, it all comes from the creating power of consciousness every time Maya comes into play. When Maya comes into play, it brings manifest what exists unmanifest in Brahman, okay? So anything from you guys? These are all simple but very profound investigation.
Yeah, I hope I can express myself in English, because it's very hard to talk with these topics for me in English. But this was a question that they always ask me, because no, it's not that, of course, it's interesting to know how creation comes to manifestation, but my question was always, okay, but why creation has this form? So why we have an earth, why the shape of the body is like this? So, and I always thought about that. And the fact is that we say that Brahman is attributeless, he doesn't have any form, but in a way we can say that, like the text says here, if I understand it, is that in Brahman there is all these shapes in seed form, not manifesting. So we, even if Brahman is not doing anything, as we know, but there is this shape in. It's hard to know to say, to express this. I don't know if I say this. It is there in seed form, right?
Yeah, that's why when I express, when I said what I said at the very end, I say, so everything exists already in Brahman, but unmanifest. And it becomes manifest every time this power of Maya comes into play. So now understanding Maya is something beyond the intellectual comprehension. We understand that Brahman, Satchitananda, is a karta. It does not do anything, and it's free of attributes because it's limitless. Anything that has attributes is limited by the very attributes it has. So the only attributeless nature of Brahman is limitless. So it has no attributes, it does not do anything, it's not subject to time, space, it does not change, and so on. So that is Satchitananda, Brahman. So now Brahman does not create anything because of its nature. But then the scriptures, our scripture brings in Mr. Maya as a power, and it says it's a power that we can infer that exists because there is no power inherently in consciousness, in Brahman. So this power comes into play, and then the universe is projected, sustained, and destroyed on a regular basis. But that depends on what? Depends fundamentally on one principle, and that is the absolute seer, is the absolute power, which is not an energy, but is conscious existence, okay? So your question brings us again and again, why Maya and how Maya, and what is the motivation for creating, and why creating like this and not like that? So those questions are not really relevant as far as understanding our true nature as this limitless conscious existence, you understand? And we have to see how, in which way these teachings translate to our day-to-day experience of life. So do I feel like that I am really creating something here? If I feel like there are a lot of people in the spiritual world say like, yes, I am creator. A lot of thoughts nowadays. Now seems to be even more strong. I'm creator, and I want to create this, my human experience and the world the way I want. So here we are going all the way back to the the base that nothing is really created, and that is the ultimate truth. You understand? We can play with the configurations, with the circumstance, with the punya papa. We can play with our environment in a way that we can move the setup in a way that we have a better, more dharmic setup, for example, you know. But are we creating? No. We know that everything is happening by the grace and power of Brahman, which, you know, appears as Ishvara, you know, and then Ishvara brings forth its jivas, and through these jivas, we appear to be doing and enjoying and creating, but nothing is being created. You understand? Nothing is really being created by any entity. And if the ego believes that I'm the creator, I'm creating my Jesus, even my moksha or whatever, you know, and then we are not getting the understanding that there is no really creation, okay? There is just this potential, this potential substance, which is my conscious existence, manifesting itself through this universal power called Maheshwara, in which all knowledge, all actions, all talents is contained, okay? So, and then when we do things from the understanding, in the light of these teachings, there is no place for vanity or arrogance. Oh, I'm a creator and this and that, you know? So we are not creating anything, okay? We are the most, we are helping or we are contributing, you know, just as a good instrument of contribution. You know? While we allow, you know, this unmanifest name and form that exists already in the mind of God, we allow them to manifest. But in the jiva level, there is nobody creating really anything. Who has created a computer? Who has created these incredible technologies we have nowadays? Nobody can claim I created. It's built in. The whole universe is built, is made out of pure knowledge, intelligence. And then we tap into this knowledge, and then someone is misled to believe that I have created this and that. I have created this new technology. No, it's all in there, in the mind of the universe, in the mind of God, in the mind of Ishvara. We just need to be in symphony, contemplate, and then we pull, you know, we tap into those things, and then it manifests, and we say, yes, I'm not creating anything, I'm just a receiver. Receiver is a good name for that. I'm just receiving this, and the rishis are the receivers of this scriptural knowledge. They say it clearly, no, I'm just a receiver. I'm an antenna, you know. I just hear or receive this knowledge, you know. So that is the main lesson, I think, for us as jivas. How about the creation of the universe? So now we go into that conversation. The universe must also be a basic substance, must also have a basic substance with the manifest nāma-rūpa. No? The universe is the substance of the universe. What is the substance of the universe? And then we can say, oh, it's the three energies. Yes, but what are the substance of the three energies? We said, oh, okay, it's Maya. But what is the substance of Maya? Okay, and then we go all the way to Brahman, to Satchitananda, this consciousness, this very consciousness that we experience, you know, in duality. You know? So this consciousness contains the knowledge of everything. Yes, Lynn? Contains the knowledge of everything, including the knowledge of creation, sustenance, and destruction. If the universe is a create substance, a product, or an effect, it must also be a substance with manifest nāma-rūpa. Before the production of the universe, the basic substance must have existed with unmanifest nāma-rūpa. So what is the universe before the manifestation of the universe? What is this substance from which the universe, which contains unmanifest nāma-rūpa, produce the manifest nāma-rūpa? What is this substance? And this is another good inquiry, because this substance, we could say, we could call it Maya, or the macrocosm causal body, okay, which is Brahman unmanifest, but yet under the influence of Maya, let's say, because this is an old question of mine that I discussed a little bit with James one time in India. So what is the difference by Brahman, the unmanifest, and the creation in its macrocosmic unmanifest as potential? So what is the difference of Brahman, the unmanifest, and the universe when it shrinks back to unmanifest? It contains all the knowledge, all the intelligence, all the karma, all the punya papa, bullshit, contains everything, but it goes back to its seed potential formation. It's Maya sleep, is the night, is the deep sleep of Maya or Brahman. So when we come to this analysis, so it's difficult to separate Maya from Brahman. So we have this power of Maya, which somehow brings forth, and then in the absence of the universe, we have Brahman, or we have Maya in its night of good sleep. You understand? But everything exists, but as unmanifest universe. The unmanifest universe becomes manifest when these energies, they awake, let's say. So here the question is, before the production of the universe, a substance must have existed with the unmanifest. The universe is the current condition. In the current condition is one basic substance with infinite nāma-rūpa. Okay, the universe as we see, there is a substance in there and infinite nāma-rūpa, with infinite nāma-rūpa. The basic substance cannot be created by anyone, including God. So this basic substance cannot be created, not even God. God is going to do what? He's going to do exactly what the potter does. He's going to shape, he's going to produce nāma-rūpa, this substance, which is Satchitananda. Not even God. Nothing can be created by anyone, including God. Gauḍapāda established this principle in the Māṇḍūkyakārikā. Therefore, the basic substance must have been present with the unmanifest nāma-rūpa. What is the basic substance? mūlavastu. What is the truth of this universe? Vedanta calls that basic substance Brahman. In other words, Sat Chit Ananda. Okay, this is a lovely inquiry, and I will looking forward to continue this with you guys next week. It's a very subtle subject topic that we're going to be able to look from different angles. Okay, so anything from you guys? Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purname Pavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, my friends. Thank you, our gurus, and this beautiful exposition done by Swam P. And we meet again next Monday, or today is Thursday, with our Panchadasi. Namaste. Thank you again. Arrivederci.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank you, Arlindo.
Thank you, Lynn.
It's amazing to me how you went from tomatoes to today's satsang.
It's amazing. Shwara does it all. It's incredible.
I guess. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.